Hello, my name is Tyler Diaz, and this is my presentation on social intelligence. So starting out here, just a little introduction on kind of, what my background or history or rather motivation is for really getting into this industry, the game industry, and why I really want to become a master in the industry. Growing up, one of my all-time favorite games was Mass Effect. It's one of those games that just had such a huge impact, on my life, on some of my friends' lives. We just couldn't stop talking about it. It was a lot like, the movie Lord of the Rings, where it is just so widely acclaimed and talked about, and it just brought so much excitement and happiness to people. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to make that impact on other people's lives, through games, because it's something that has been done for me. I want to be one of the names behind one of those great games or great series. Um, so the person that I'm going to talk about today is Temple Grandin. I think that her journey is extremely interesting, and it's one that we can all learn from. Although we may not have to overcome some of the unique circumstances that she did, I think that she really teaches us a lot about how we can not only improve ourselves, but improve our work by looking at those things objectively. So, a few stories about Temple. The first story is one where she was given a job where she was supposed to come in and improve upon a design for a particular thing. And she did that, and it was really good. But she later found that a colleague of hers was sabotaging her work, and she just couldn't figure out why, to the point where she actually had to leave that job. And then another similar story where she was brought in again to fix some sort of issue, and she did that, but in the process, she noticed a lot of other issues with this company. And so she wrote a letter to the president of the company, and she was ultimately fired. So reflecting back on these experiences, she realized that, it wasn't the fact that she wasn't doing good work or that she hadn't, pointed out valid issues, but it's the way that she went about these things, ignoring input from colleagues or simply treating them like they just weren't as good. We as humans are extremely sensitive creatures, and so the way that we interact with people really does matter in how successful we can be at work. And I think that that is really applicable to the gaming industry. Everyone has great ideas in the gaming industry, and walking in and thinking that you're the best and that your ideas are going to be the successful ones every single time is not going to lead to success, and it's going to lead to some similar situations that Temple Grandin faced, early in her career. And then a few more, or rather another story that is told, at the end, kind of towards the latter half of her career, when she was asked to give a lot of talks. Um, she included all the information in these talks that was necessary. And yet, when she got feedback, although she thought the talks or the presentations were good, the feedback was brutal. And she really had to look and realize some of the things that the audience, the feedback that she was given, and take those to heart and improve. And I think that in the game industry, that's extremely applicable. We might feel super confident in what we ultimately put out there, but what the players, which in this case would kind of be the audience for this particular thing, what they say and what they want is ultimately what's going to matter. And so being able to take that and kind of suck up our pride and improve upon those things will be extremely important. So the questions that I wanted to, or that I came up with asking Temple Grandin, they're really questions that I feel like I could ask to any of the masters, that would just be super interesting. And that's, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone that wants to be great at what they do? I think that that would be so interesting, and anyone that is as accomplished as someone like Temple Grandin is got to have some sort of really cool insight. And then another one is just, what are you most proud of regarding your life's work? I think that would be extremely interesting to hear. And then the last, quick point here that I wanted to go over was just a couple of the deadly realities that I found super applicable to, the gaming world. And that's envy and rigidity. Like I mentioned before, it's not always going to be my idea that is the successful one. Everyone has great ideas. And so being able to, celebrate with colleagues is going to be extremely important to being successful. And hopefully, people can celebrate with me when it's my ideas that are successful. And the rigidity, this one's interesting because the gaming world is constantly changing. And the need to innovate and come up with new ideas, even though it might be really tempting just to stick with what we know is successful and we know works, is tempting. Ultimately, it's new and innovation that is going to keep people interested in in the new games, in the new things that you put out. So I really found those two deadly realities to be two of the most important to avoid. So just Robert Greene and his mastery book was the only reference I used in this presentation. So thank you so much for listening, and bye.